Got very sharp lines on the headlights, and those dual exhaust tips, which I feel like for a car of this performance are a must-have. I like how they went with a red and gray combination instead of a red and white combination, unlike the previous cars. I do like the look of the gray, but unfortunately, like BMW and Mercedes, every few years they forget that they have LED technology. There are LEDs present in the turn signals, but the main brake light does not have LEDs, which I'm sure, I'm sure they forgot about them. They forgot to put them in. It's not like they want to make more money and do an LCI revision and sell you the same car again for people that are on leases. It's not, it can't be that. They forgot. They forget. They forgot. It's an honest mistake. But I'm sure in 3 years we'll get an LCI revision of this car where there will be LEDs in the taillights. At least this one's a good, well-spec model. I have seen 2018 BMWs with no LEDs. So this one is a well-spec model. If you open the trunk is very, very spacious. Lots of room here. I'm not sure if it's best in class. It might be, because BMW 3 Series always wins in its category. But if you look at the trunk space, there's ample trunk space to put groceries in. It's got this netting on the side to put stuff in. I'm sure the battery access is somewhere here. Pretty standard trunk. The car also has a rear view camera. I really, really like these alloy wheels. I think they look awesome on the car. They just give it a really sporty look. I think looks wise, look at how superb the car looks in the front. It looks amazing. The sharp lines, the details, the cuts. And they also brought back that little ridge, or like that little cut that older 3 Series used to have. And they brought it back in like a cool modern way, which I love. And I really like that look compared to the facelift look that they revised on that particular E46 model. Chrome grills in the front, even though I wonder what the grill would look like blacked out. But I do feel like the way this car looks right now with the headlights and the silver in the headlights and the silver chrome in the grill, it just looks amazing. The car has a revised grill on these newer BMWs. The grill by default stays closed for aerodynamics. When the car needs to be cooled down, when the engine needs air, these vents open up and to give the car better cooling. But in usual conditions, these grills stay closed, which is also a unique feature to new BMWs. I wonder when BMW would stop doing the double grill. I hope they never do. I think that's a very iconic thing for BMW. It's what defines them. And being terrible on maintenance and having crappy electronics. A little bit of a rant I'm gonna go on here. So these orange reflectors are mandated by a North American standard. You'll notice European cars don't have them. You also notice if it's not on the bumper on North American cars, it's usually in the headlight, and that is mandated by government. I think it's the stupidest thing ever, and it just does not go with the look of the car. That's why you'll notice European cars do not have orange reflectors or orange in the headlights like American versions do, and that's why the European versions always look a little bit better. Under the hood, it's got a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which produces 250 brake horsepower. Now, BMW is known to be conservative with their numbers, so I would imagine the actual number is a little bit higher. That's why also this car feels so much faster than 250 horsepower. Like, the numbers say 250 horsepower, but the butt dyno disagrees. But I do feel like BMW and Mercedes need to kick up the horsepower numbers and the torque numbers on these cars, because now the market's being dominated by Tesla. So if they want to maintain their dominance, they need to step it up. I just love how the daytime running lights look on this car. They're one of my favorite yet. I do miss the circular rings and the closed off ring in the older BMWs, but I think this looks amazing also. It looks beautiful. The back seats are nice and spacious, very comfortable. Lots of leg room here. I'm in the back seat right behind the driver's seat, and the seats back significantly because I'm 6'1", so I need a lot of leg room in the front. And I have lots of leg room here. This is very comfortable, very nice place to be. Very soft leather. I love the quality of BMW leather. So long drives in the back seat of this car would be very comfortable. It's got chrome accents all over the interior. Matte chrome, not actual chrome. I'm sure this is not real chrome, it's plastic, but it looks very nice. I like this little detail. Same thing on the door handles. It's got that chrome accent. I like them. It's matte chrome. I don't know what this look is called, but it looks very nice. And leather everywhere. Like this car has leather here. This is also leather. So I haven't touched, there's a few surfaces that are plastic. Obviously this knob's gonna be plastic. There's a few surfaces that are plastic here, but everywhere you touch, it's mostly leather and like nice materials, which is what you would expect from a car like this. It's got climate control in the back, so I can adjust my climate back here. There's vents, I can adjust them. There's also USB-C charging ports. So this car is the future, ladies and gentlemen. This button right here controls the air, and this knob adjusts the volume of air that you get from the vents. Now I'm gonna be taking this thing out on the road and showing you guys why I like this car. It's a driving masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. While you're driving, you can hear turbo whistles, and I really like that. You can hear the turbo spool. And for a 4-cylinder, it actually, the engine noise is very impressive. All right, BMW 330i. So immediately what you realize is that the car, it doesn't feel as connected to the road as older BMWs. It does feel a little bit isolated. There's no feedback from the wheels, so you don't get that feedback you used to get in the steering wheel. It feels a little bit cut off from the road, but I think in a way that's a good thing, because that's what moving on is about. I mean, it's 2020 now. The car is supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be quiet. And frankly, that's what the segment of this market in today's world wants anyways. There's very few car guys that buy these anymore. It's mostly like, you know, junior executives or like soccer moms. So they don't really care about performance or feedback from the road or that particular type of thing. Very nice interior, nice gauge cluster. I do like the new look of the new gauge clusters. I like how it's all digital now and it's not analog. Even though in some cases I do prefer analog. Like when I first saw it, I did not like it that much. I like the analog gauges, but I think that's just me being an old head. I did see a little space here for a charging station. I thought that was a charging station, but it's not. It turns out to be just a place for you to store your phone. It did not wirelessly charge my iPhone. And the black with the beige interior looks very nice. I think that's a good combination, but again, these seats are notoriously hard to maintain. Very difficult to maintain. As far as turning heads is concerned, you're not going to turn many heads at a light in Beverly Hills where I am right now. But let's just say if you were in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, or even Mississauga, Ontario, you could pick up a few chicks with this car. It's all about where you are, right? It's all relative. But the good thing is, you could buy this, or you could buy an M3, which is going to come out, I believe, in a few months. And the M3 is going to be twice the price of this. But as far as your average person is concerned, they would not know the difference. They could never tell you the difference between the two. To them, it's just a brand new BMW. Like to them, they just see a new BMW. Driving wise, it is much better than the C-Class though. I do love the way this drives. Even though the C-Class had a better interior, this drives so much better. BMWs have always been drivers' cars. This drives a hell of a lot better than the C-Class. Good stereo also, good sound system on this thing. Nothing crazy, like the bass is a little bit low in my opinion, but I don't think this has the Harman Kardon or like the highest sound system that you can get. They did not spec that out on this car. I'm sure if you had this car in Wisconsin, you'd be like the biggest boss. But around here, it's just another BMW. This car is so much bigger than the old 3 Series. Like this is technically the size of the older 5 Series. Like the 5 Series from the early 2000s and this have the same wheel dimensions. So the car has gotten a lot bigger over the years. But I think that's a good thing. And that's what the market in this segment demands. All right, let's check out the sound system. Just radio ads. Radio is 90% ads now. I can't stand radio. And in a time like this where everybody has Apple Music and Spotify on their phone, I don't know why they would do that. They're putting weights on their own ankles so they can drown themselves. All right, so now I'm gonna do some performance testing on this thing and hopefully I don't get arrested. I'm gonna kick this thing in sport mode. Hopefully I don't go to jail. The downshifts are very responsive. Woo! Yeah, you can get in trouble in this thing. You can get in trouble in this thing. very, very responsive gear changes. Sometimes it does shift for you, like if you don't shift, even though it's in manual mode right now, if I don't shift at the red line, it will shift for me, which I don't like. But considering who this car is really made for, the segment, it's not really car people anymore. It's people that want to look good. So for that, I think it's okay because you don't want them blowing out their transmission, but it does shift for you. I don't like that. Woo, yeah. Okay, I need to slow down. Yes, okay, relax, relax. I'm being the typical BMW driver right now, driving like a douchebag. There's a lane warning feature that I do like. It tells you when you're about to merge into somebody. But a feature that I don't like is the lane assist feature. So this car would, if you're going on the highway, like let's just say you're going out of your lane, it will pull the steering wheel back a little bit. You'll feel the car steering itself and it'll take the car back into the lane, which is, I guess, okay sometimes, but it's not very reliable because it doesn't work 100% of the times. It works when it wants to, and sometimes it does steer for me unnecessarily, which I don't like. I haven't figured out how to turn that feature off, but I'm sure there's a setting in a sub-menu and another sub-menu where I could turn it off, which if I owned this car permanently, I would turn it off. I do not like that feature. I do like this though. Good thing about LA is that the cops, especially on Beverly Hills or West Hollywood, do not particularly care about speeding. It's not like San Bernardino County. And that noise that you're hearing, that's with the windows closed. And even though it's a V4, it sounds amazing. USB port at the front, a 12-volt plug. The car does have that easy accessibility feature where as long as you have the key in your pocket, all you got to do is touch the door handle and the car unlocks. My final thoughts on the car are this. If you want to lease a car for $40,000 and you're a person that likes to drive, actually enjoys driving, you got to get this. Forget the C-Class. I mean, if you want a better interior and a ride that's a little bit more comfortable, get the C-Class. But if you're a guy like me that likes to drive, enjoys driving, likes a well-performing car, get this. This is the car to get. I mean, for the money, you can't really do anything better. Unless you go buy a used M car, M5 maybe, for $40,000, $50,000. Maybe 35 for an even older one. But I wouldn't do that because it will make you lose for sure. And also, you would want to lease this car. You don't want to buy it outright because this is going to depreciate. This thing is going to be like $20,000 in like 3 years. So it will depreciate like crazy. You don't want to be the one taking all that depreciation. Lease one of them. But honestly, for this kind of money, and it's a brand new car, 2020, I think you can't do anything better. If you have a budget of $40,000 to lease a car, get this. This is what you want. It's time to return the 3 Series. It will be missed. I'm gonna miss this thing more than a Mustang. Maybe not more than the Slingshot because that thing was just crazy and me and it have a personal relationship now. I was the reason of its death. But I think I'm gonna miss this like a lot. Even though this is the 3 Series, I didn't think I'd be that attached to it. But I like this car, man. But yeah, time to give it back. Time to move on. Bigger, better things coming.
Put that on. Put that on.
Subscribe.
Please subscribe.